I could go on an entire day, but I'm left with two more questions before we move on to a public Q&A. And this is a personal question which I'm going to ask you. Is that in one of your interviews, you talk about how your mother was a force of nature in your life and your creation of art. And when she was kind of, when you were growing up, she did her job so you could be successful someday. And you talk about how she was a dancer, she was a classical dancer, and she was a artist in many regards. So was my mother, actually. And I lost her in 2019. And you talk in the interview, you say something along the lines that when you eventually became successful, she was not around to see you be successful. And that is your biggest regret. Do you want to talk about your mother and how she was instrumental in your...
Yeah, I mean, my mother, I grew up, my mother actually she was part of something called, she was a Bharatnatyam dancer and she used to do theatre, Marathi and Gujarati theatre. And I grew up with a lot of Marathi theatre stalwarts coming to my house. And they used to hang out and everything used to fall on my ears, things that fall on your ears ultimately inhabit your soul. I believe strongly in that. You don't need to understand everything there and then. And that is the fallacy of our education system, that जो अभी सिखाया जा रहा है, अभी समझो, अभी उसको regurgitate करो, निकालो. Things impact you very late. The physics that I learned in engineering college is something that I understand now. So similarly, what my mother was, and the people, there were some really lovely people. There was one person I remember was Professor Vasant Bapat. He was her professor, he was a poet, and along with him, Dr. Pula Deshpande. These were people that I used to meet, and I did not understand a lot of things that they spoke. But, now when I read what they wrote, their writings, I understand it better, and I'm thankful that my mother helped me inhabit, somewhere those words became part of my soul. And yeah, I mean, I think this is something we can go on and on forever. But yeah, she played an important part in my life. She passed away in 2013, which was the year Shahid was released. And that was the time I actually found my voice. So she saw me struggling to find my voice. And when I found my voice, I think she lives on through that voice.
I relate to that on a spiritual level. And yeah, that's a very endearing story, anecdote there. So final question, and it's more of a request, and it's going to be a controversial one. Because I've not asked you anything controversial yet. So, मैं ना सर आपसे इंस्पायर होके अभी स्क्रीन राइटर बन गया हूँ मैं, right? And I'm writing a story, and the story is about minorities. The minorities are called Odias, right? तो हम ना बहुत सताए हुए लोग हैं, हम ओडिया लोग. हम लोग नॉर्थ इंडिया को जाते हैं, हमें साउथ इंडियन बुलाया जाता है. इफ़ यू गो टू साउथ इंडिया, वी आर कॉल्ड नॉर्थ इंडियंस. गलती से अगर ओडिशा और इंडिया से बाहर चले गए, सो वी आर कॉल्ड बंगालीज, राइट? So would you want to talk about the identity crisis that Odias are having?
I think there's no need to have that identity crisis. And yes, if you strongly face that kind of identity crisis, you need to make a film that is authentically Odia and take that story to the world. Express yourself, your own crisis through your stories. I think that is of prime importance, and we have to find ways, better ways of taking our cinema. It is something. It's a conversation with OTT platforms and all that we constantly have. Malayalam cinema became certainly part of the mainstream conversation in the last 2 years because Amazon Prime, Netflix started acquiring a lot of that. Fahad Fasil suddenly became a household name all of a sudden. So Allu Arjun, people started knowing him because. So I think that net needs to spread far and wide. While this was happening, there's a film called The Disciple by Chaitanya Tamane, very fine filmmaker. So The Disciple was acquired at such a low price by an OTT platform that the producer, his back was broken. I mean, he will struggled to make another film with Chaitanya. You know, although it had names like Alfonso Cuarón, everybody on the film, Netflix bought the film. They said this is the highest price we have paid for a Marathi film, and I found the entire statement derogatory. You know, the film has traveled around the world. The film has transcended language, and yet when it comes to you know, putting a price on the film, you say this is so it puts Marathi films, Marathi cinema down. I mean, one of the largest hits of the last few years has been Sairat. You know, that kind of commercial success, all these Hindi films that say that they have done 200 crores have not made even a percentage of the profit that Sairat has made. You know, because always films never fail, budgets fail. You know, and that is something you must understand. You budget your film correctly, your film will never fail.
So basically that's a yes, you will make that Odia film with us. See, Tarang will produce
I will watch it.
No, you will direct it, sir. And I'm a up and coming actor. I'm trying my luck. I'm a struggling actor right now. So I'm kidding. But this was a very insightful interaction with you, sir. And one last question. You're a foodie. Have you tried any Odia food?
Yeah, since yesterday I've been in food coma. Genuine food coma. I mean, dalma just knocks me out. It completely, it knocks me out. I love it, but it's a knockout punch, you know. So today I said I'm not going to eat till this is over.